माधवा हे मधुसूदन, हे माधवा हे मधुसूदन, दामोदरा हे मुरलीधरा, दामोदरा हे मुरलीधरा, भुवन प्रया हे भुविनायका, भुवन प्रया हे भुविनायका, हे माधवा हे मधुसूदन, हे माधवा हे मधुसूदन, करुणाकरा हे शररक्षका, करुणाकरा हे शररक्षका, मनमोहना हे यदुनन्दना, मनमोहना हे यदुनन्दना, हे माधवा हे मधुसूदन, हे माधवा हे मधुसूदन, दीनावना भव भयभञ्जना, दीनावना भव भयभञ्जना, जगन्मोहन जगन्नायका, हे माधवा हे मधुसूदन, हे माधवा हे मधुसूदन, गरा हे मुरलीधरा, दामोदरा हे मुरलीधरा, भुवन त्रया हे भुविनायका, भुवन त्रया हे भुविनायका, हे माधवा हे मधुसूदन, हे माधवा हे मधुसूदन, हे माधवा हे मधुसूदन। राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोपाल, 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 राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोपाल, राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोपाल, श्याम सुंदर मदन मोहन राधे गोपाल, श्याम सुंदर मदन मोहन राधे गोपाल, मुरली मनोहर राधे गोपाल, मुरली मनोहर राधे गोपाल, राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोपाल, राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोपाल, 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 शंख चक्र गदाधर राधे गोपाल, शंख चक्र गदाधर राधे गोपाल, मुरली मनोहर राधे गोपाल, मुरली मनोहर राधे गोपाल, राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोपाल, राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोपाल 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 श्याम सुंदर मदन मोहन राधे गोपाल श्याम सुंदर मदन मोहन राधे गोपाल मुरली मनोहर राधे गोपाल मुरली मनोहर राधे गोपाल राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोपाल राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोपाल 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 शंख चक्र गदाधर राधे गोपाल शंख चक्र गदाधर राधे गोपाल मुरली मनोहर राधे गोपाल मुरली मनोहर राधे गोपाल राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोपाल राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोपाल 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 राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोपाल 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 सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै शांति शांति शांति। Together we will chant Bhaj Govindam verses 5 to 15. Bhaj Govindam verses 5 to 15. Bhaj Govindam Govindam Bhaj Modamate संप्राप्ते सन्निहिते काले नहि नहि रक्षति दुःकृन्करणे यावद्वित्तोपार्जनसक्तः तावन्निज परिवारो रक्तः पश्चाज्जीवति जर्जरदेहे वार्तां कोऽपि न पृच्छति गेहे यावत् पवनो निवसति देहे तावत् पृच्छति कुशलं गेहे गतवति वायौ देहापाये भार्या बिभ्यति तस्मिन् काये बालस्तावत् क्रीडासक्तः तरुणस्तावत् तरुणीसक्तः वृद्धस्तावत् चिन्तासक्तः परमे ब्रह्मणि कोऽपि न सक्तः काते कान्ता कस्ते पुत्रः संसारोऽयमतीव विचित्रः कस्य त्वं कः कुत आयातः तत्त्वं चिन्तय तदिहा भ्रातः सत्सङ्गत्वे निस्सङ्गत्वं निस्सङ्गत्वे निर्मोहत्वम् निर्मोहत्वे निश्चलतत्वं निश्चलतत्वे जीवन्मुक्तिः वयसि गते कः कामविकारः शुष्के नीरे कः कासारः क्षीणे वित्ते कः परिवारो ज्ञाते तत्त्वे कः संसारः मा कुरु धन जन यौवन गर्वं हरति निमेषात् कालः सर्वम् मायामयमिदमखिलं भूत्वा ब्रह्मपदं त्वं प्रविश विदित्वा दिनयामिन्यौ सायं प्रातः शिशिरवसन्तौ पुनरायातः कालः क्रीडति गच्छत्यायुः तदपि न मुञ्चते आशावायुः काते कान्ता धनगतचिन्ता वातुल किं तव नास्ति नियन्ता त्रिजगति सज्जन संगतिरेका भवति भवार्णवतरणे नौका जटिलो मुण्डीलुञ्चितकेशः काषायाम्बर बहुकृतवेषः पश्यन्नपि च न पश्यति मूढो हृदरनिमित्तं बहुकृतवेषः अङ्गं गलितं फलितं मुण्डं दशनविहीनं जातं तुण्डम् वृद्धो याति गृहीत्वा दण्डं तदपि न मुञ्चत्याशापिण्डम् भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते सम्प्राप्ते सन्निहिते काले नहि नहि रक्षति दुःकृन्करणे The Vedanta Treatise, the chapter 8, we have been studying the topic on the chapter culmination of human life, wherein we have been studying the personality chart, the topic wherein we have been studying and covered the portion of the intellect and steadfastness, dhriti. So, the brief recap of what we have covered so that there will be a quick revisit. So, this personality chart defines your individual personality, what type of personality you have, and what is the purpose of that personality, and how it will help you to reach the perfection in human being, which is ultimate state of God realization. So we are essentially, every human being is made up of three gunas called three mental textures, thought temperaments, they call it. So sattva, rajas and tamas, highest, mediocre and lowest. So sattva is the highest guna, which is the state of tranquility, state of calmness and placid quietude, detached, mature, objective, contemplative, meditative mind. That nature of thoughts which are of that quality is called sattvic quality. The rajasic quality is that mediocre quality, lower than sattvic quality, where your thoughts are frenzied, desire ridden, coupled with worries and anxieties, actions which are egoistic, so which are worried and anxiety, frenzied actions. This is the thought textures of the rajogunam, broadly speaking. And tamogunam is the state of inertia, state of lethargy, thoughts which are lazy, heedless, careless, thoughts which are irresponsible. These are the thoughts of tamasic quality. Put off the things, I don't care attitude in life. This is the tamasic quality. Sloth and sleep. Deep sleep is the solid tamas, Kumbhakarna. So we have this Puranic story, Kumbhakarna, Ravana and Vibhishana. These are the three well-known brothers in Ramayana, depicting these three gunas of mind in each human being. No human being is exempt from any of this guna. Every human being is a product of these three gunas. Essentially, all human beings are nothing but different permutations and combinations of these three gunas account for the heterogeneous variety of this human beings' entire world. And this traditional caste system is divided based on this proportion of these gunas. And the highest quality of sattvic guna, high percentage is there, and less tamas and less rajas, the person is called Brahmana, thinking class. It has nothing to do with the rigidity of this birthright. People misunderstand this caste system. It is all based on the thought textures and mental temperaments. And when the sattva falls and rajas picks up, then we personality get into this kshatriya, the valor class category of kshatriya, kingly class. Further, sattva guna drops, rajoguna little bit drops, and tamoguna picks up. A person takes up this category called Vaishya, business class, and the more tamogunam picks up and less sattva and less rajas, that person belongs to Shodra, labor class. These are the 4 categories. Now we have been studying all this for personality chart, so that we try to find out what kind of qualities we are made up of, how much percentage of each quality, sattva, rajas, tamas, and our life's mission, life's ultimate purpose. The goal is to step up from tamas to rajas, from rajas to sattva, and go beyond sattva, reach the God state of enlightenment, state of self-realization. This is the purpose of human existence in this world. Having said that, now how these gunas can we figure out? How can we understand them? These gunas are very abstract, very subtle, very deep to figure out. Therefore, this personality chart is presenting us to let us know the expressions of these gunas in various aspects of life, what we are functioning. So the ingenious masters, especially Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he gives us this beautiful presentation of these various factors of life. Especially every human being is acting. So every action is divided into 5 categories, factors, and those 5 factors where they expressed, they are divided into 3 gunas each. So knowledge, action, actor, intellect, steadfastness, and happiness. The product of this action is the happiness, and both can be possible only through renunciation, which is the final quality. So all these expressions of the various ingredients of action are divided into these 3 gunas, and their qualities are well defined, so that we will be able to figure out where we stand in the ladder of evolution, and wherever there is a defect or corrective deficiencies, we administer corrective measures and step up and reach the perfect human state. So in that we thoroughly studied the few ingredients. One is jnanam. So basically, who has got a jnanam? We briefly covered in the previous class. The jnanam is, there are 3 grades: sattvic jnanam, rajasic jnanam, tamasic jnanam. What is tamasic jnanam? What is rajasic jnanam? What is sattvic jnanam? How much you have? Each jnanam defines your personality. So everybody claims that they have knowledge. What kind of knowledge you have? It is your bounden duty to figure out. If you have no proper knowledge, you have to step up as early as possible to get out of that and then get perfection. So sattvic jnanam is that knowledge with which you see, you identify unity in diversity. You see the self in all beings. You see God in every aspect of life. That knowledge with which you perceive divinity, unity in diversity. That knowledge is sattvic jnana. Then when you go to rajasic knowledge, it is quite opposite. The core of human beings, which is self and self alone, Atman is the source of every living being. That is sattvic jnanam. Opposite is rajasic jnanam. Where there is a unity, you see diversity. Diversity in unity is Rajasic Jnana. So it is quite opposite, and ultimately Tamasic Jnanam. Tamasic Jnanam is the knowledge which is basically ignorance. You are considering part as a whole. You blow out of proportion without truth backing it, without foundation, without reason or logic. You are fanatic, dogmatic belief system you follow. That is Tamasic Jnanam. This is the 3 gradations we covered in the previous class. Next, we also studied action. Every human being is acting. So what type of quality of actions you producing? If your actions are sattvic action, your action supposed to be effortless. You do it obligatory duties and responsibilities. You don't act based on likes and dislikes, without ego, without desire, without result orientation. That action which is pure action, obligatory action, action for the which generates peace and progress. That action without ego and selfish interests, it is called sattvic action. Then comes Rajasic action. Action with egoism. I am the doer. I do it everything. This is Rajasic action with the desire ridden, anxiety for the fruit of action, coupled with longing for fruit and action with lot of pain and suffering. It is sattvic action is freely flowing, where Rajasic action is with pain and with hard work, not effortless, freely. And Tamasic action, third one. Tamasic action is that action which is executed out of ignorance and delusion. That which is disturbs your health and vitality. You don't respect the consequence of action. You disregard the capacity to act. Tamasic action is that action which has no regard, respect for the capacity, heedless and irresponsible. Action with delusion and confusion. That is Tamasic action. Actions ruin your strength and vitality, opposed to human dignity and prestige. Next comes to actor. Who is sattvic actor, Rajasic actor, Tamasic actor? What type of actor you are? You have to understand. Sattvic actor is one who is commitment, consistent and cheerful, joyful, with peaceful, and he has no I am the doer attitude. So he is not egoistic and is not attached to success and failure. Actor with detachment is not attached or no personal preferential relationship, no possessiveness, is consistent in his approach in life. He completes the project what is he engaged in. He is disinterested in the results thereof. And throughout the life, sattvic actor maintains the balance of mind in the fluctuations of external world of life's experiences. He is cool, not affected by the fluctuations of the external world. Is sattvic actor's quality. How much you are affected. So if you are affected while acting, you have the ego and desire. You are Rajasic actor. A Rajasic actor is ever impassioned, egoistic, possessive. His desires are insatiable, He will never satisfy with any uncontrollable desires. He craves for fruits of that action all the time, result oriented. He develops greed for acquisition and enjoyment. He pursues his desires with such attitude, and if anyone opposes his actions, he is hurtful to the opponents. He would adopt unscrupulous ways and means, unethical ways and means to gain his selfish ends, personal ends, and is constantly worried and anxiety. He is buffeted by stress and strain. He has all the time disturbed, no sleep, stress and strain in life. So throughout his life he maintains, he is a rajasic actor. You find a lot of them, whole bunch of them having this quality. Worries, anxieties for everybody today. And tamasic actor is one who is an actor with no ideal goal or purpose in life. He exists like any other animal. No goal in life, no purpose in life. He lacks the consistency or steadfastness to pursue any course of action. Before evening they'll say something, in the morning they'll say something else. No coherence, no connection or commitment or consistency. They are very mean, uncultured, unrefined, vulgar in thought, word and deed. Tamasic actors. They obstinately attach to their way of living, blind beliefs, mechanical rituals. All are tamasic actors. Malicious in dealing with others, deceptive and misleading. You can't trust anything. Any moment they deceive you. Lethargic, lazy, indifferent towards obligatory duty and responsibility. They don't perform any obligatory duties and responsibilities. Remains ever despondent and depressed in life, all the time negative minded. Such actors, they all the time procrastinate. They puts off activities, postponing all the time. If these kind of symptoms are there, you have a tamasic tendency, tamasic actor you become. Whatever these tamasic actors, they'll postponing. They don't complete any activity. Next is intellect, buddhi. Sattvic intellect, rajasic intellect, tamasic intellect. What type of intellect you have? Sattvic intellect is one which clearly distinguishes what is the action which you should take up, what is that which you should give up. The path of action, path of renunciation. Then, having chosen the perfect field of activity, choosing your swadharma, the sattvic intellect helps you to find your original swadharma, the field which is you are comfortable. Having chosen, sattvic intellect helps you to execute activities based on the obligatory duties and responsibilities rather than personal likes and dislikes. So it always helps you, sattvic intellect helps you, guides you to perform what you ought to do in life, whether you like it or not. That is sattvic intellect, all the time guiding you. And also tells you what is beneficial for you, what is dangerous for you. Sensuality, materiality is not beneficial for you. Only higher values of life are beneficial for you. Those who have sattvic intellect pursue higher values. They don't give importance to sensual indulgences. senses are deadly. So it gives the right actions. Sattvic intellect guides you to perform right actions in life and will not allow the personality to indulge in senses and helps you get sense control. And sattvic intellect is that intellect which clearly knows what is liberation, what is bondage. The body, mind, and intellect, you are bound. The Supreme Self, the God within you, is ever free. Sattvic intellect helps you to identify with the self within and disassociate with the body, mind, intellect, and helps you to reach the transcendental state of enlightenment, spiritual enlightenment. Sattvic intellect directs the individual. That is the true liberation. So every perception, every emotion, every thought, sattvic intellect helps you to avoid them and fixes the attention on the self and self alone and will give you true freedom. It exactly knows what is bondage and what is liberation, what is freedom. So every human being is bound by the body, mind, intellect and suffering by the perceptions, emotions and thoughts. So sattvic intellect helps to get out of this bondage and enjoy the true freedom, and thereby you enjoy the true peace and bliss. This is the greatness of sattvic intellect. The rajasic intellect is that intellect which wrongly understands what is righteousness, what is unrighteousness, what is good and bad. It gives erroneous concept of virtue and vice because of the desires and egoism and selfishness. That's what happened to Dhritarashtra. Duryodhana, his son, he could not figure out who are the people who are beneficial. He backed his own son with egoism and selfishness, that Duryodhana, and later on he suffered various problems in life. His son also lost. Whereas sattvic, that is the rajasic intellect, takes you to such wrong direction, wrong understanding. What is good and bad? It wrongly interprets what is ethical, unethical values of life. It knows not the obligatory duties and responsibilities. Rajasic intellect doesn't execute, doesn't understand what is his duty, responsibility, what is his obligatory duty, what are the likes and dislikes. The rajasic intellect makes you commit all blunders in life and also makes blunders in executing that action. You will be less efficient, less productive, completely doing blunders after blunders in your performance of action. So, the rajasic intellect is that intellect which shifts your focus. Like, for example, a cricketer who is playing cricket facing ball, if he has a sattvic intellect, he just faces each ball and effortlessly disposes to the wherever the ball belong to. Whereas a rajasic intellect takes him to think about the result. Am I getting 100 or not? Can I get a place or not in the team? All the time focusing on non-essentials of life, unethically, immorally. It doesn't do the obligatory duty and also executes wrongly the action because the concentration leaks through egoism and result orientation. So that destroys the concentration on the ball in the present action, suffers, and you make blunder of executing that action. You lose, you become out. This is what you find in cricket or in any kind of exams of the students. Because of rajasic intellect, they have to step up from rajas to sattva to have a perfect action. And tamasic intellect is full of ignorance, shrouded with ignorance. They don't know what they are doing, why are they doing. They consider wrong as right, right as wrong, unrighteousness as righteousness, righteousness as unrighteousness, because of total ignorance. They understand all ulta, vice as virtue, virtue as vice. Views everything perverted. It leads you towards own destruction. You kill yourself with this rajas, tamasic intellect is most deadly. When you get a malignancy of the stomach, instead of going to the doctor, this fellow who is tamasic intellect, he will go to the palmistry or he will go to the some black magic, some kind of a stupid belief without having any reason, and he will destroy himself and destroy others. That's what happening today. Every human being today has a tamasic intellect. What are the series of incidents happening in the society today? All the time blind beliefs, superstitious beliefs, destroying the humanity. Tamasic intellect, full of ignorance, imagination, full of ghosts and spirits they are believing, full of tamasic content filled with them. Highly educated people, highly intelligent people, highly knowledgeable people, so-called well-placed people, running industries, running educational institutions, running big empires, full of tamasic intellect. Nobody understands. It is happening in front of you. Alas, alas, says the Upanishads. Yah pashyati, sah pashyati. Whoever sees it, sees it. Today, hardly anybody understands that intellect is deteriorated to alarming level. This is the current state of it. You have to step up from tamasic intellect to rajasic intellect, from rajasic intellect to sattvic intellect. Then only you will be able to make your life best happiness and perfection. Everything is in your hands. Nothing anybody can shape you. You have to lift yourself by yourself. No gods can help you. No government, nothing external can help you except yourself. Next is what also we studied, steadfastness. Steadfastness is the consistency of purpose. It is also three varieties. What type of consistency of purpose? Shraddha, Dhriti. There are synonyms. Steadfastness you have. Sattvic Shraddha, Sattvic Dhriti, Rajasic Dhriti, Tamasic Dhriti. There are three kinds, three varieties. What type of Dhriti you have? If you have a Sattvic Dhriti, Sattvic steadfastness, you maintain consistency in your life till you reach the Supreme Self. You use your body engaged in right actions and channelize those actions towards the achievement of the Supreme Self, the Atman, the God realization. Similarly, you use your mind, engage them in the field of emotions, use the emotions, channelize them towards the ultimate goal of self-realization. You also employ your intellect, engage them in the study, understanding, gaining the knowledge of the self, and steer your body, mind, and intellect towards the achievement of the Supreme Self. That consistency with which you pursue the path of the self-realization with the body, mind, intellect and steer clear of any distractions in the world is called Satvik Shraddha, Satvik Dhriti. If you have Satvik Dhriti, you keep focused like a Hanumanji. How Hanumanji went into the Lanka palace. He searched in every nook and corner of the houses of the Lanka palace, entire kingdom, but he never lost the focus on the searching of the Sita and Rama's job that is fixed. Similarly, he is not deviated from the track, he did not distracted, he did not leave the ultimate purpose of his pursuit. So ultimately he achieved that. That is the Satvik Shraddha, Satvik Dhriti. If you have Satvik Dhriti, you focused on the self-realization, not any worldly benefits, not any worldly attractions and worldly interests. You always interested in the Supreme Self. You already in the world, you be with the objects, you be with the beings, you do engage your duties and responsibilities to the best of your ability, you perform them, but in and through all your transactions of your life experiences, you always remember that your purpose of your existence is to the achievement of the Supreme Self, nothing short of it. That is your fixation. You are having Satvik Shraddha, Satvik Dhriti. You become Hanuman, you become Prahlada. In this lifetime, you will become such a kind of a stalwart if you have that Shraddha. But if it is drops down, then you get into Rajasic Shraddha, Rajasic steadfastness, the consistency with which your aim is to acquire and enjoy. There is nothing beyond. Your beginning and end of the life is to become master of this life of this world, maximum of this world, enjoy the world, extract from the world, and end of it. There is no higher pursuit, nothing beyond. So the consistency with which you run after this money, name, fame, power, position, status, family, money, these are all the ultimate be all and end all of your life. This is, you are very committed to it, very consistent in your pursuit. You deliberately put your enormous efforts to achievement of these goals which are worldly, materialistic, sensual, indulgences. This is the Rajasic Shraddha with which you maintain consistency. This is Rajasic steadfastness. You are all the time worried and anxiety. You are completely lost in the obligatory duties or responsibilities controls you and get favor of doing. All the time you are hurried, worried, rushing everywhere. Consistency you maintain with the worries and anxieties, stress and strain in life. This is what the Rajasic steadfastness. Next comes the Tamasic steadfastness, which is very, very deadly. What is the Tamasic steadfastness? The steadfastness or the consistency with which you are imagining, all the time imagination, all the time daydreaming, all the time foolishly imagining, fearing, grieving, depressing, despairing. Maybe this roof will fall down. Maybe this whole tsunami will come. So all the time negative minded, all the time pessimistic. In ignorance, you maintain consistency in those belief systems, depressed, fearing all the time, grieving. Every time you are grief stricken, and you are very maintaining these qualities with arrogant and pride, general arrogant attitude in life. I know everything. So this kind of a steadfastness is tamasic steadfastness. People, they say there is a ghost. I have seen it. So they are so confident and they believe in maintaining those consistency in those beliefs, and that kind of unscientific, illogical, unreasonable, stupid, foolish. It is like below the dignity of human caliber. So such people are tamasic steadfastness they have. They maintain consistency in those stupid things of that ghosts and spirits, dayalo, botalo, black magic, all these unnatural, abnormal belief systems, superstitions, mechanical rituals, all this they maintain. Every Saturday they do Shani Puja. They do something or other. We are not criticizing, we are not condemning, but they foolishly believe something will happen. They put all the time on the road. Every Monday, you go to the freshly road, there will be a row of lemon on the road. A stupid belief system spoiling the roads, and consistently they maintain. They throw the eggs and spill the eggs. These are all sorts of idiotic beliefs, stupid, foolish imagining that something will happen by something. This is the tragedy of it. Especially in this country, it is very well predominant. All this Shodra Pujas, all this so-called the religious, so-called blind religious heads are responsible for this unnatural tamasic steadfastness they are pumping into the innocent masses, innocent human beings. Grieving, consistency. Next comes the beautiful quality of happiness. Happiness, sukham. Happiness is a sattvic happiness, rajasic happiness, tamasic happiness. You must check the quality of your happiness. What type of happiness you are enjoying. If you are not careful in testing your happiness, you are a very, very, very low quality human being you end up. So better to test what type of happiness you are enjoying at this moment. Is it sattvic happiness, rajasic happiness, or tamasic happiness? So what is sattvic happiness? You have to be very careful in understanding. Sattvic happiness is arising from the clarity of intellect. So it has to be born out of intellect, buddhi, not by mind, not by whims and fancies, likes and dislikes, emotions. It is born out of clarity of the intellect. And second condition, that which feels detestable, distastable, perhaps painful in the beginning, poisonous in the beginning, but ends up nectarine, blissful, happy. What is poison in the beginning, nectar in the end? That is sattvic happiness. Carefully understand. Entire human beings in the wrong direction today. The happiness which is derived from spiritual disciplines, happiness which is derived from pursuit of the higher values of life, happiness derived from the ultimate goal of life of self-realization, happiness derived from pursuit of the Atmavidya, self-knowledge, supreme self within. So that happiness which is achieved through physical sense control, not sensual indulgence, sense control, physical restraint, emotional detachment, happiness derived from emotional detachment, and happiness derived from intellectual understanding of spiritual knowledge. The study of Atma Vidya, when you study self-knowledge, you enjoy the happiness. That quality of happiness is called Sattvic happiness. These practices of physical restraint, sense control, mind control, mental detachment, intellectual understanding of spiritual knowledge, karma, bhakti, jnana, selfless action, devotion for the God, and study, knowledge, jnana yoga. All these spiritual disciplines, when you execute in your day-to-day life, you enjoy an amount of happiness. That happiness is of sattvic quality, sattvic nature. That is sattvic happiness, because it starts, suppose you start yoga. When you start yoga, it is painful in the beginning. It is stressful in the beginning. It is hard in the beginning. It is torturous in the beginning, apparently. But as you go through this slowly, with the bearing the pain with patience day by day, the same yogic exercises, physical fitness activities, they will give you long-term happiness of health and disease-free body, strength and vitality for the body. Your body becomes strong like a steel, Hanumanji. That is called sattvic happiness. Happiness derived from spiritual disciplines, yogic practices, higher ideals. See, values of life, human values, godly qualities, divine values, beginning no enjoyment apparently. But when you continue pursuing, expanding your physical strength and service and seva, unselfishness, and perform your emotions in a larger group, expand your love and affection towards accommodating others and feeling the interests of others, Loka Kalyana, Loka Sangraha, always feel for others' welfare. You don't immediate benefits, but the happiness derived out of such extraordinary efforts of emotional detachment and freedom, you get that happiness is called sattvic happiness. And the study and understanding of self-knowledge, Atma Vidya, Brahma Vidya, knowledge of inner self. What is that? Who am I? What is the spirit in me? What is the Atman? Where it is located? How it is? That inquiry, that discovery of the study of the self-knowledge, knowledge of the Vedanta, knowledge of the Upanishad, which deals with the spiritual knowledge, happiness derived out of such efforts is called sattvic happiness. So these practices demand effort and discipline. Extraordinary discipline is necessary and extraordinary effort is necessary to achieve sattvic happiness. Everybody wants immediate happiness, immediate pleasure, immediate joy. Nobody wants to go through the pain. Hence the pursuit is said to be detestable in the beginning. Sattvic happiness is detestable in the beginning. Nobody likes it. However, with continuous practice, continuous commitment, they become pleasant. It's like a person who is committed, studied, struggled, hard work, dedicated in study, in understanding, in knowledge, his life is made. A person who is spendthrift of time, effort, money, everything, he just dissipates his energies. He will be left behind in the life also. So anything constructive, anything long term, you need to go through initial pain and hardships and struggles. This is the law of sattvic happiness. The same law holds good for anybody who want to become long term happiness or long term settlement in this world also. You want to have a nice job, nice career, nice future. You have to put lot of effort in the beginning. Go through pain, suffering and hardship in the beginning. Later on it is a happy express highway of peace and enjoyment. This is a sattvic happiness. It is pleasant. It turns wholly blissful in the end. Ultimately you reach the enlightenment also if this continuous struggle of this spiritual practices, service and sacrifice at the body level, and devotion and love at the mental level, love all and serve all. At the intellectual level, nitya, anitya, viveka, vichara, constantly engage your intellect in trying to find out the self in every being, every experience. Understand there is self supporting everything. That is sattvic happiness. Then comes the rajasic happiness. What is rajasic happiness? You can find now hardly anybody interested in sattvic happiness today. What is rajasic happiness? What is nectar in the beginning, poison in the end? Ulta, opposite. Indulgences, alcohol, drink, instant kick, permanent destruction. What is immediate instant pleasure, beginning, later on sorrow and suffering. This is the rajasic happiness, opposite to sattvic happiness. How it comes? It comes with sensual indulgences. Eyes are contacting, sightseeing. You engage the eyes fully in indulgence, both eyes will go in a long run. Any sensuality, any materiality, instant pleasure, completely sorrowful in the end, destruction in the end. So rajasic happiness is the happiness which is born out of contacting the senses and sense objects. You eat a mango, you get a pleasure. That is rajasic happiness. Any happiness which is contact born with the world. I have my habits, physical habits. I enjoy smoke, I enjoy drink, I enjoy food, I enjoy anything. Whatever may be the type of contact at the physical level, even emotional level. I have a family. I have a very good friends. I have a good wife or a husband or a child. But if you derive pleasure, happiness out of the relationship from the external world, it is rajasic happiness. Because the happiness which is contact born, it soon wears away. It as soon dies away. Whereas sattvic happiness keeps on growing from within, because it takes you to infinite happiness of the self-realization also. So it is nectarine. But rajasic happiness is completely opposite. Immediate pleasure, completely sorrow. So feels pleasant in the beginning and turns painful in the end. Sensual pleasure is enjoyable only start with, but joy diminishes with continued contact. How many mangoes at a time you can eat? So this is the diminishing value. You reduce your enjoyment naturally and ultimately it becomes sorrowful. That is called rajasic happiness. Quality of rajasic happiness is contact born. So you have to understand how much enjoyable is the sattvic happiness, but hardly you need intellect to understand the happiness quality, what you are enjoying. And then tamasic happiness, which is the deadly one. What is tamasic happiness? Happiness out of sleep. A people who want to derive pleasure out of deep sleep, pleasure out of ignorance. A fellow is trying to contact electricity directly in ignorance. He gets electrocuted and dies spot dead. So it is most deadly. Happiness derived out of ignorance and sleep. You are blissfully ignorant about anything and you derive out of ignorance is bliss. Nowadays people talk greatly. Ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is deadly. You need sattvic intellect to recognize that. But nobody recognizes. Ignorance is bliss. The tamasic people have that kind of a tone. So happiness springs from ignorance of the Supreme Self. You have a Supreme God within. God is everywhere, but you clean miss it because of you are totally ignorant of the Supreme Self, delusive of the Self, and totally caught up in darkness. A happiness delusive of the Self from the beginning to end. You born in ignorance, you live in ignorance, you die in ignorance. And you think you are fine, you are happy, you are well settled. That you are there in ignorance. That is tamasic happiness. You don't have any other interest, no purpose in life, just like any other subhuman lifestyle, like a reptile or plant or animal or insect or bird or beast. You just like exist and die. This is the life of a tamasic happiness. People who enjoy this kind of happiness arising from sleep. Some people talk, sir, I enjoy sleep like anything. So people try to derive pleasure out of sleep. That is tamasic happiness. Sleep is like a medicine. You just use it to develop your physical strength, to engage your body to service and sacrifice, to go beyond this world to reach the Supreme God, enlightenment. That is the purpose of sleep. But people try to extract happiness out of the sleep, deep sleep. That is tamasic happiness. Heedlessness, carelessness, recklessness. I don't care whatever happens. And I enjoy pleasure out of that. That is tamasic happiness arising out of carelessness. When you are ignorant of a malady, you remain blissfully unaware. It does not agitate you at all mentally. A fellow is suffering malignancy and it could be cancer, but he wants to be ignorant. He doesn't want to go for testing because he doesn't want to go for finding out. He wants to be happy with that, not finding what it is. That is tamasic happiness. They are more deadly. People die with tamasic happiness only. It does not agitate you. He is very happy. He feels he is blissful. So also pleasure or joy derived from indolence, laziness, indifference, heedlessness. This type of negative happiness is the tamasic happiness, which is most deadly. So you have to check out what is your ignorance and step up and gain knowledge immediately. That's why for every 6 months or 1 year, the recommendation is to check up your body, complete checkup. Is there any malignancy? Is there any potential cancer cells? Whatever it may be. You must understand ignorance is tamasic happiness. Thinking all is fine. Find out the areas of ignorance and step up from tamasic to rajas, from rajas to sattva, and get to ultimately trans sattva, sattvic happiness. Engage yourself in this spiritual discipline so that you really enjoy true happiness, which is ultimate nectarine in the keep progressing. The happiness should increase. Happiness should not reduce. This is the measurement of sattvic happiness. We'll continue in the next class. Thank you very much. Hari Om.